Golfers tend to make the game way too difficult. The game should be simple, and today we're talking about how to swing the golf club. 3 simple steps that you can do to help you swing the golf club correctly every single time. I'm PGA teaching professional Todd Kolb, Director of Instruction for US Golf TV and the Sanford Power Golf Academy. And golf can get really complicated really fast. And what we're going to do today is we're going to break the golf swing, how to swing the golf club. We're going to break it down into 3 different parts: the setup, the top of the backswing, and the finish position. We're going to make it simple, easy, and we're going to help you start swinging the golf club better. Now, hey, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to our channel. This is the place for you. If you love golf and you like working on your game, you want to be part of our group, so be sure to subscribe. Be sure to click that bell too, so you know when we get new videos coming out, because we're doing that all the time. And you know I love hearing from you. Be sure to leave a comment as well. So let's dive right into this. We're going to break this down into 3 different segments. We're going to talk about basically the grip and the setup. We're going to talk about the top of the backswing, some checkpoints, some things that we should be looking for. And then we're going to talk about the finish position. That's how we're going to break these 3 things down. And then at the end, I'm going to give you a simple tip that's going to help you swing the club and be in balance every single time. So let's dive right into it. First of all, the grip. How we hold the club has a big impact on how we swing the golf club. So if you've watched any of my other videos, you know one of the things I always recommend when you're working on your grip is to bring the club up at eye level. So the reason I like to do this is when you bring the club up at eye level, you can really see what's happening. Typically, when people put their hands on the club, it's down like this. So then they got to turn their head down and they got to look at their hands in this position. But if you bring them up, now you can actually kind of see what's actually happening, especially when you're doing something new in the grip. Just by simply bringing your hands up here, bringing the club up here, I should say, it's going to help you be more aware of what you're doing. So what should you be doing? Well, I'm going to grip it first of all on my trail hand. That's my right hand for me as a right-handed golfer. I'm going to put the club at about a 45-degree angle. Okay, 0, 90, right around a 45-degree angle. Then I'm going to take my lead hand, which is my glove hand, and just position it so the club runs diagonal across my hand like so. I'm going to go ahead and grip it around. And the only other thing I need to do on that top hand is make sure that my thumb is kind of nice and snug. My trail hand, my right hand, is just going to go ahead and slide right back down like so. Okay, so I feel like I'm holding the club in my fingers. I'm going to do a little bit of an overlap or an interlock. That's kind of up to you. But that's the basis of the grip. So get the club up here, put it at a 45-degree angle. Lead hand, trail hand, both of them in the fingers, and you're going to be pretty darn close. Now, if you want a lot more details on the grip, we've done some videos that we dive real deep into the grip, but those are kind of the basic couple things that we're looking for. So let's talk about the setup. How do we want to position our body as we get ready to swing the golf club? So for the most part, you want your shoulders to be about shoulder width apart. And that's one of the times lots of times I like to use my live view when I'm training my students and I'm working on my golf swing, because I want them to have that visual feedback. It's one of the great things I love about live view is it's automatic feedback. They can see what they're doing. And so one of the checkpoints that I'll do is I'll just have them stand up nice and tall, okay? And basically I want their feet to be about the same width as their hips or their shoulders. Okay, that's a good reference point because you want your feet to be about shoulder width apart. You want to take your toes, flare them out just a little bit. Okay, you want to just go ahead and bend a little bit at the hip, so your hands just kind of fall naturally down. So like I've got my live view set up right here down the line. Okay, got my feet shoulder width apart, toes out. I bend my knees a little bit, and then what I'm going to do is just kind of slide my hands down so they get to the front of my knees, and that's going to get me in a pretty darn good position here. So I can see I've got a nice athletic position, some bend at the hip, hands are falling right below my shoulders. Okay, this is a fantastic position. So I think a lot of people complicate the setup. At the end of the day, you got to be athletic. Get your feet about shoulder width apart, get a little bit of bend at the hip, get your hands to fall below your shoulders, and you're pretty good to go. So those are what we want to do in the first stages. So let's talk about the top of the backswing. That's where I like to take my first look at the golf swing. So here's what I want you to know. The golf swing, for most practical purposes, is like a circle. So I'm set in here, and I got my live view down the line here. It's one of the ways I like to work with it. Okay, and I just put this blue line on there. Now that blue line represents basically an angle, almost like a circle. Some people will call it like a plane of glass, all right? But it's a great visual. So the first thing I want you to know is that when you swing the golf club, the swing is for all practical purposes like a circle. So the club goes, the arms and the club go up and above the right shoulder, the trail shoulder, they come back down, and then they go back up. All right, that's the overarching visual feel that we want. So at the top of the backswing, what are we looking for? So got that set up here. When I swing it back, all I'm going to do is simply swing my arms and my hands up and above my right shoulder, my trail shoulder, and let my hips turn a little bit. So your checkpoints at the top of your backswing are hands above the shoulder right there. Okay, you can see that. Hips turned, weight's kind of on my trail foot. Those are the couple key components that I'm looking for at the top of my backswing. It's not any more complicated than that, quite honestly. Shift your weight to your trail side, turn your hips, get your hands in the club above your trail shoulder. If you do that, you're going to be pretty darn close. So that's a little bit on the grip, a little bit on the setup, top of backswing. Now, hey, if you've got some ideas on that or some questions about, hey, what about your top of backswing or what about your particular setup, put those in the comments and I'll be sure to answer those the best that I can. So let's talk a little bit about the finish position. Now, a lot of people say, why aren't you talking about impact? Well, the truth of the matter is that impact, the golf swing as a whole, it's like a snap of the fingers. Boom. I mean, it just happens that quickly. So when people say, well, at impact, I really feel this or that, I have a hard time buying that because impact is literally a fraction of a second. And I mean, maybe there are some people who can feel that, but the vast majority of golfers, it's just happening. And if my setup is good, if my top of the backswing has some good checkpoints and my finish is good, the part in the middle, i.e. the impact, is probably going to be pretty solid as well. So let's talk a little bit about the finish position. I'm going to give you a nice drill that you can do that I work with almost all the time with my students when they're learning how to swing the golf club. So finish position, here's what you're going to look for. Got my setup here. When I finish the swing, all right, I want my chest facing the target. Okay, notice where the club is. See how it's back and it's above my shoulder, okay, and kind of almost wrapped around my head. That's a great position for it to be. All right, one of the things I like about the live view too is when I swing this through, I can look down and I can see, okay, yep, that club is up where I need it. Another good checkpoint for you is you should be able to see the bottom of your trail foot. Notice how the bottom of my trail foot is fully up. All right, and the last thing is my knees are touching. Okay, so when you finish your swing, the club is up and around your shoulder, okay, kind of almost back behind your head, chest facing the target, knees touching. All right, and if you do that, you'll be able to see the bottom of your trail foot there. So that's kind of some of the checkpoints that I look for in the finish. Now, I promised you that I would give you a little tip here that I like to do. This is, matter of fact, I'm going to give you two of them, because I think these two can really help you swing the golf club. So here's the first one. What you're going to do is take your regular setup, and all you're going to do is you're going to take the club and you're going to put it in front of you. Notice how I put the club in front of me maybe 2 or 3 feet. All right, then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and swing it all the way back and all the way through. Now, let me demonstrate that again. Okay, I'm looking at myself down the live view there. All right, I'm checking my setup. I got my angles, all right. Put the club in front, swing it up and through. Now, here's what's going to happen is that when you put the club in front, believe it or not, when you put the club in front and you just let it swing to the top, it's going to go to the perfect spot. I guarantee it's going to go to the perfect spot, because most golfers, when they start from a stationary position like this, they drag the club, they do all types of different things. But when the club is in front and you create some momentum, the club will naturally swing right up above your trail shoulder and through. And that's a great drill that you can do to help you get the club in the right spot at the top. So the last one I want to give you is, how about the finish position? A good drill for that. Well, I like to do the drill where we make continuous swings. So here's what you're going to do. Take your regular setup. You're going to make a back swing and then a forward swing. So there's 1, and then I'm going to swing the club all the way back, 2, all the way back, 3. Okay, so notice how once I started swinging, it wasn't swinging fast, but I just kept moving. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Now when I do that, what I love about this is I got my device right down here, okay, and I got the live view down. I mean, I can literally see that circle 1. And it just, I'm not doing anything. I'm just letting the club, the momentum of the club, go where it wants to go. So one of the best drills that you can do is to just create movement, continuous movement when you're swinging the golf club. Let your arms relax, let your body relax, and you'll find that you'll start hitting those spots on the top of your backswing. You'll start hitting those spots when you finish the golf swing. And if you do those couple drills, combined with the other suggestions that I gave you, I guarantee you'll understand how to swing the golf club and start hitting better shots.